Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Oh, by the way, welcome to the show, everybody.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I just get excited and just want to delve right in. Yes. And we've got a great guest for you today. And I was just going to say, our lives can be filled with so much trauma and pain sometimes. And we don't really know where they come from or why they're there, but they just happen to get there. And sometimes it takes somebody else who has developed their gifts for a long time and can really make a difference in your life. And our guest, Terrie Christine, has been on Bravo, CNN, the Oprah Network, which is OWN, Hay House Radio, which I love Hay House. If you have an opportunity to go to their website and pick up any number of of the books that they have, they're just awesome. She's been on Amazon.com and Beyond The Ordinary Show, which is still running, I understand. And so first of all, I want to introduce Brishelle. Brishelle is a newer to this type of work, and so I wanted to invite her here so that she could take notes and listen, because she's a little intuitive herself, but she doesn't quite know how to deal with it quite yet. So but Terrie, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me and saying yes.
I have to say yes. That is one of the cornerstones of what I do. Is when the universe presents great people to me, I have to say yes.
Aww.
And you are one of those that I really have been dying to not dying, and I don't want to die
living
yet, but I've been I've been living to interview. That's right. Because the thing is, people go, she's an energy healer. Well, that must mean she's doing that woo stuff. Well, and it's nothing like that at all. It is energy. Yeah. And we all have energy, and we're going to talk all about that. First of all, Brishelle, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Jump in whenever you have a question or a thought for Terrie, and we can and we'll include you in, but take notes, because this is important.
Okay, so will do.
And so Terrie, it's great to have you here again. How did you begin being an energy healer? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I found myself at the end of a 14-year relationship, and everything I was pouring into him, I wasn't getting in return. And then I had a spiritual epiphany. Literally, I was laying, it was about 3 months before the end of that relationship, laying in the bed. And it was all about everybody else but me, because that's what I was trained by my mom and my grandparents, to serve and service your partner. And I did that very good, might I say, but then I didn't take care of myself, because I just had to take care of them. And that's how it was. And so here I was 14 years later, realizing, who am I? What am I? Where am I? Not wanting to be here anymore, because I thought, if this is what love really is, I'm done. And so I woke up 3 a.m., crawled into the bathroom, laid on the floor. And I remember everything. The tiles being so cold, I closed my eyes, and I had this sense of expansion. It was so thin, like I just was drifting into thinness. And my eyes were closed, as I said, but I was so alert. But I knew I was in the center of the universe. Like, literally, stars were all around me. I could touch them. I felt this dampness, but this complete bliss of expansion. Like, I did it. I'm here. Yay. And then all of a sudden, 3 simple words: love will come. I mean, it was masculine. It was vibrating as if I was in the center of the speaker. And then whoosh, I wished really right back in my body. I stood up and I'm like, what just happened? I was zero spiritual. I was 100% corporate, took care of the kids. He created a 1950s style kind of house. He took care of the outside and I did everything on the inside. And I was struggling. And now I felt as if God put a rope down that hole. I climbed out of it and I'm like, I'm getting everything that I asked for. Love's going to come. Yay. It was just like that. Went to bed and woke up. Everything changed. You know, because I labeled and I told you I did everything, taking care of 4 people, and I was one of them, the house, the cars, the everything, and having a full-time job on top of that. I didn't have time to read books. Something in me said, go to the bookstore. Literally, I got in the car and I drove right to the bookstore. I started picking up authors I never knew existed, but I call them the beginning of Psychic 101 and energy work. Esther Hicks, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, all the masters that helps us in the beginning of the journey. Because now when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's so simple. I get this. This is like 101 kind of stuff. But it helps to understand there's more to life than just being in existence. It is living. And that's what I started to do after that spiritual epiphany.
You know, first of all, how old were you when this happened?
Oh, gosh. Look. Do I really have to reveal my age?
No, not your current age. But give us a decade. What?
I was in my late 40s.
See, now that is when I've been told, and my experience is that sometimes when you're in your 40s, you've already done all the stuff that you were supposed to do when you were a little kid, and had the house, had the wife. In my case, you had the husband, and the kids, and the dog, and the cat, and then there's a point in time when it's just not enough, and so that's and I did the same thing. I went to a friend told me to go to a metaphysical bookstore and buy the first book that spoke to me. So I bought Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. Nice. And I'm getting Rochelle to read that soon. Yes, ma'am, you are.
It's a great book.
But the whole thing was just happenstance, but it was all by divine plan, just like yours.
Yeah. You know, if I didn't take action, literally God had to, and I'm going to relate it to God, higher self, source, light, whatever you call it, but I'm going to label it God. So God says, you know, to me that I'm going to get everything that I simply wanted, that one thing, love, that I felt that I was pouring so much out. And, you know, if you have that pitcher and there's only so much you can pour out, and then what do you have left, right? And that literally was my life. But realizing that there was more to what I was seeing with my own eyes and hearing with my ears. And I didn't even know any of this existed. I just lived in emotional and started becoming physical misery while I was trying to squeeze love out of someone who just couldn't give it to me.
That's amazing. And I assume that he is no longer in your life.
No.
And I assume that you're just fine with that.
You know, here's the thing. When, you know, I left, and this is just like most, we get into the state of anger, never thought I would be in this space, opened up my heart completely. Who am I now? And even my sister said, man, he did a number on you. And it wasn't a physical situation. It was an emotional. And I really had to reclaim my soul because I was just living, as I said, existing. And that's not how you want to live. And nothing, it was like a black cloud that I couldn't see through the clouds at all. And so when I left, there was some anger and animosity and, you know, seeing how he was acting. But then fast forward, you know, about 10 years, because it took me about that long, because I had to learn what I do now. And I had to learn to reclaim my know, K-N-O-W. Yes. And then I had to realize that I set myself up for failure. I was trained by my mother and both grandmothers on how to be the perfect, quote unquote, partner, woman in the relationship. And so my soul was like, oh, no, but everything around me was showing me yes. So I was tortured in that yes and no state, right? And not understanding why am I not happy like I'm supposed to be? And then realizing when I look upon what I accepted, unacceptable behavior, lots of things that I should have really been saying NO, which is a full sentence over.
Well, and I'm glad that you are the person that you are today, and all of those experiences.
Yes.
And well, tell me your opinion on this. I believe all of our experiences are designed by us and the universe to move us into the place that we are supposed to be, and to give us the knowledge and the ideas and the kindness and all of the things that we want to move through the rest of our lives with. But it takes some of those experiences that may not have been all that great,
Right. We are all here for one thing, and that is to expand and grow. Everything else is a choice. And so I had a choice to say no. I had a choice to do things differently. And because I was shown only in the four walls of my upbringing that I knew nothing else but. So how could I not, how could I do anything else but what I was shown? Because I didn't know. And that's what children, are the product of their experiences and their environments. And so it may not relate to your soul. And that's where that duality, that fight within yourself going, I don't feel this and I don't want this, but then I'm shown this and told this. But yes, we are perfectly here to expand and grow, and everything else is a choice. And, in that, when we're receiving it, then we just know that even when it doesn't feel so great, when we step back and say, hold on, these are some weaknesses that I want to turn into some strengths.
And in the work that you do now, you're an energy healer, an intuitive energy healer, which is that's kind of like the Cadillac of healers.
Porsche.
Or you're a Porsche girl. So tell us about your work and how does it apply to help people to get through the moment in time that they're at where they don't know what they're going to do next, and they're unhappy.
I didn't have me when I needed me the most. That literally was what was happening. And so as an intuitive energy healer, intuitive is trusting that inner knowing, the truth always makes sense, right? So I use my physical body to understand the energy of my clients remotely or face-to-face. And then each part of the body represents something. So if I feel my throat constricting when I'm working with a client, that means that they hesitate to speak or they're restricted in being able to speak. So it all has to do with communication and throat. So feet move forward and, and various things. Shoulders are perception of burden. So I'll pick up where the body is holding certain limiting beliefs, but also I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. So I can see movies in my head. I can hear conversations. And the clairsentient is just knowing. So Rochelle, if I was working with you, I'd say, girl, I can feel this. I just know it. And that's that clairsentient, that I am right on top of something that really is holding you back. And the other clairs help me to define them for you. Because when people usually start in energy, and I said usually, not always, but usually start with Reiki. That's an opening of, I call it a lily pad. So starting in the lily pad of energy, I stepped into Reiki. But the first couple of months, I'm like, man, there's more to this. What is this, And I was able over all the years to harness it and maneuver it to where I wanted it to go. And then because I can see these movies, I would share the movies. The number one thing people were saying is, what is that? What's going on? I need to know. And so with Reiki, the normal practice is we're not supposed to communicate. The energy goes through us and goes to where it needs to heal, and we hug and go on your merry way. However, when I kept hearing people say, tell me, I was saying, come on, I need more. And so I started, I did take a intuitive development course, which hyper sensitized all the things that I already have. But then over years, I was able to see the patterns of what's going on. There isn't much that I don't see that I haven't already seen before, and the patterns, and then I just share it. So it's an interpretation. It's not that, Kevin, that I would see you and Dad arguing. I may see two fish swimming in the sea. One jumps out of the water and swims away, and that tells me someone left the family unit. And so over all the years, I interpret what I'm seeing, and then I will bring it forth to why you're struggling with what I'm seeing in your subconscious. Now, clients will come to me. I am not talk therapy. However, I support it. I have lots of clients that come to me with talk therapy. And then I just get straight to the core of what's going on. And then I can shift it from the subconscious by describing it and saying, hey, I'm picking up, you were 3 years old. You were with mom. This is the story I see in my head. All you have to say is yes, 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 because that's what they say. And then I can shift it. It can feel like a muscle spasm with no pain. You may feel heat. You may get a twitch. You may get very emotional. I see that a lot. And that's a shift from the subconscious, and the body is responding to it. And then they feel lighter. That's the number one thing I hear. I feel lighter. I have clarity. I have hope. I know what's going on. I didn't see that coming. I hear that so much. I didn't see that coming. And so when I'm sharing all of that, I'm helping them put their pieces of their puzzles together so that they can say, now I know why I'm getting triggered when that person says that. And then they start to feel, because they've got it now, understanding, but I've already shifted the energy and it all comes together.
And I'm willing to bet that you make a lot of people cry.
Yeah. And I'm
and not crying out of sad tears.
No.
That's crying out of recognition.
Yes.
Of who they really are, and they're
yes.
getting in touch with that. We're talking with my friend Terrie Christine, and we need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. It's just a minute, so don't go anywhere, anybody. And if you want to be a sponsor of the show, listen up. Are you looking for a powerful way to grow your brand while making a real difference? Well, Positive Talk is the perfect platform to align your message with inspiration, hope, and meaningful conversations. By sponsoring Positive Talk, your brand will reach an engaged audience that values positivity and connection. People who want to support companies that share their values. Take this opportunity to showcase your business in a space that uplifts, inspires, and creates lasting impact. Don't wait. Email me, kevin@kmmedia.pro today to learn how you can partner with us and spread positivity while growing your brand. And welcome back to Positive Talk. We've got a tremendous show for you today. Terrie Christine is with us. She's been on CNN and Bravo, on everywhere. What's it like to get interviewed on a nationally known network like CNN? And what did you talk about when you were there?
So CNN was more of a snippet where, being on Good Morning Washington, on Bravo, which was Real Housewives of Potomac, OWN was Love and Marriage DC. That was where, the magic was happening, being able to showcase what I do, with individuals when I was on Real Housewives, and then couples when I was on Love and Marriage. But being able to, as I'm explaining to you what I do, it was showing the world how I can do it in real time. I mean, it was filmed, but in real time as I was actually with them. It's very interesting. When I was doing Love and Marriage DC, I have to say DC because they are a franchise, that I didn't meet two of the couples until they walked in the door while we were filming. And so, and I knew one set of couples because I was manifesting to be back on TV because it was after Bravo. And it took me 3 months. And then Monique Samuels, who was on season 1 of Love and Marriage DC, manifested me several months prior to. She was looking for a healer, a local one. And she Googled me and found me, and we started working together. And it was so magical and powerful that she's like, I have this opportunity. It's reality show again, because she was on Real Housewives, but I didn't work with her when I was on that episode. And so I didn't even know who she was when she came in. And so she came in, and I had already been doing my what will it take? This is what I teach in intuitive development. What will it take? Asking the universe in question form to receive. She pops in. We do amazing work together. And she says, I have this opportunity. She sends my name to the producers. And then magic started happening where when we got to my episode, it was the most magical time because when we walked in, I didn't know what we were going to do and how they set it up because there was nothing set up in advance other than they're coming together to do this session with me, and Monique explained to them what I do, and we were doing it in a wellness center. And so they were laying down on the floor, and then they said Terrie time. And then instantaneously, I'm like, okay, what do I do? And I asked that because I handle children, I handle individuals, I handle couples, and I handle groups. Each are all different. I had 4 sets of couples in the room, and I'm like, wow, couples are so intimate that I'm like, whoa, how am I going to do this? And I asked God, please give it to me. And then instantaneously, I went right to one in the group. And I started describing what was going on. If you had the opportunity to see the show, it's on season 1, episode 6. But it was so profound because it was just what I do naturally. And so being on Real Housewives it took me a year to manifest it. And so it gave me the opportunity to see what the cameras look like, what they do in the room. I did what I did naturally. They edit it so much. So it was difficult to see exactly what I did. So that one was a little bit of a challenge afterwards. However, when I decided to start manifesting being on Love and Marriage DC, I had already experienced all the cameras, what it takes, and when the crew speaks to each other. And then it was just a matter of how I was going to decide to do the work with 4 sets of couples. And I ended up doing individual yet couple, so that they could relate to what their challenges were as their couple, but an individual. And then it opened up the bubble for them all to communicate, and then the world to see that this alternative way to heal can be very profound in a way that you may never have experienced before. So it was so gratifying to be able to be that one to show the world that this is really real.
You know, I hesitate to ask this because and she can feel free to say no, but it would be very interesting for our audience to see how you work. And I can be the big guinea pig, or
I know because I already.
So I'm always the guinea pig. I'm fine with that.
So I know when to say certain things and when not to. So I'm not going to reveal to the world certain things. However, I knew you were going to say that. So I don't know if you saw my eyes move to the left and to the right. And when you're on my screen, you're to the left, Kevin. Michelle is to the right. And so there are 5 ways to pick up limiting beliefs. Mom and dad, or mom and dad like figures. That's one. God, wait a minute. I missed one. Mom and dad. So 1 and 2. I'm sorry. Mom and dad like figures. Sorry, I was losing track. God, someone else, and something else. So I looked at you and picked up dad, Kevin. Looked at Michelle and picked up mom, because I knew you were going to ask. That's why I did it right before. Like, here he goes. And so with that, it doesn't mean, so I'm going to explain to you as a group, but individually. So it doesn't mean that you had emotionally or physically abusive parents. It simply means that, Kevin, you created dad blocks, limiting beliefs, that in your environment that you weren't being supported, being heard. I heard that. Feeling accomplished. So dad, you doing something and dad not patting you and going, good job, good job. And there can be those moments. I know I'm on it because I just felt it, Kevin. I just felt it. So that's the clairsentient. And so there are those moments that now what happens is if that you experienced a masculine presence in your life that wasn't giving a boy the extra good job, baby. Yes. That now as an adult and being the masculine person you are, you work harder and say, I got to do these things to be seen because I need the kudos from me. And not that you're like, look at me, look at me. It's not like that. It's an internal, I feel good that my guest is experiencing support and love. I feel good that my assistant is being heard and I'm helping her. And that gives you that feeling like I'm feeling good and accomplished inside of you. Does that resonate?
Oh boy. You have you
You
have
have
no
him
idea.
behind the microphone. He said,
And by the way, when my dad passed about 15 years ago, and when he got a lot older, he was a lot warmer. But when I was growing up, I was the third kid, and so I was the afterthought. And the only connection that we ever had was I played sports and was good at baseball and stuff. And he used to like to come and watch that. But I'll never forget the one time that I had a hyperextended knee and I was playing football, and so I couldn't play. And I remember him saying to me, he was mad at me because my knee was hurt, and I couldn't run, I couldn't play. And he said, "Well, you need to get out there, and you just need to do it," and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
and he and I have come to terms. While he's on the other side, he's extraordinarily proud of what I do.
Yeah. And it's different because now they see their weaknesses on the other side and they want to share how much they love you and how much you've accomplished. And it can come through signs or messages or through mediums such as myself and others that do connect to the non-physical. But think about it though, that's your subconscious, and that's why I'm picking it up and it's still there. And so even though you and Dad had the opportunity to hug and talk it out and him to give you some of that love in the end, you still have that blueprint. I know I am on it because talking about it, I can feel it inside of me going, yeah, Terrie, you're on it. I can feel it. And that's when I know I am absolutely on top of it. And so I don't care what you say, I know I'm doing it, but you've already acknowledged it. And then that's where, if we're not clearing that stuff, you could be working harder than you should, because you are trying to accomplish something to get that feeling that I got this, that I know I'm on that. I can feel that too. And yeah. And
Well, you have no idea.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, yes, you do. Yeah, I do 6 to 7 episodes. This week I had 10 episodes a week. And because I feel driven to do it, and that's maybe a subconscious thing.
Yes.
I'm still seeking approval.
Yes, but now it's for yourself with the feeling. So you're okay, and I'm seeing this softness like a cat. You're okay that you don't need to hear everybody. I hear you have to hear a little bit from your wife, but that's okay. She should be, and she probably is. But you don't have to. Your motivation is not driven by everyone saying you're doing a good job at this point in your life. Your motivation is that internal, I am making a difference for others so that they can feel what I may not have felt back then, but I'm feeling it now. What? That's so big.
That is, you're right. That is huge. And by the way, if you ever see my wife, just tell her hi for me, would you?
I will.
because I would, one of these days I'm gonna have to come and see you, because that I would really dearly love to know why I have this emotional block around romance, because I haven't dated anybody but my ex-wife since 1980.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow.
And
Well, she could be throwing that to you, or somebody like, that's why I said your wife, but I feel there's a connection there.
I've got lots of wonderful people around me. They're really, and including this one. And when we come back from this break, I would love for you to delve into her and not literally, but you know what I mean, to talk about what's going on. Because, by the way, Terrie Christine, if you go to terriechristine.com, you can find out all about her. You can work with her. You can work together because she is, I'm telling you, I've had over 2,000 interviews. I've interviewed people with like John Edward and
Mm,
John Houston and
mm.
many psychic mediums. I've been involved in hundreds of readings, and you, young lady, don't need to take a back seat to anyone. You are
Mm-mm.
really, really good.
Thank you.
And we need to take a quick break. And when we come back, I hope stay with us, everybody, because we're on the Brushwood Media Network, and we got a letter one time from somebody that said, "Can you have more of that psychic stuff on? I really like that stuff." So if you're listening, this show's for you, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and we've got a great guest. I mean, a great guest. Her name is Terrie Christine, and she is, and not only are you gifted psychically, but you can tell that you enjoy the hell out of the job that you do.
I do. I do. It's like playing in the sandbox, and having people that want to play with you. It's so fun. But you can say I take it personally, but don't take it personally, meaning I don't own your stuff. I can't, because then it'll take me down. But I know what I do is serious, but not to the point where it's going to own me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I look at it as helping people get out of what they can't see. And so because I'm able to see things that they can't, it's so empowering for both of us, right? The client and myself. And being able to say, when they say, I didn't see that coming, I love that line, because, going to their subconscious and things they can't remember, and then being able to put their pieces of the puzzle together and saying, oh, when you were 3, mom, and this is what I'm feeling. And I'm like, sort of like what I did for you, Kevin. And then you're like, what? But it's enabling you to know, okay, it's still in there, and I'm going to be present and fully aware of it so that I can change things differently, and when I'm working with a client, I'm actually shifting it from their subconscious so they don't have to work as hard. They still have to be present, and I give them tips and tricks on how to do certain things so that they can keep moving forward.
Well, and I'll tell you, when there's an inside joke in our family that I spent more time in my room than anywhere else, because I was told the words "go to your room" were almost an everyday occurrence for me, because I was a boisterous child and they wanted to be left alone. So
yeah.
And I was the young one. So, but anyway, can you delve into my friend Rochelle just a little bit?
Yes. You have a lot of emotion, honey pie.
I know. I can feel you looking through me.
Yes. Well, let's say I'm touching you. I'm not looking through you. I'm just simply touching you. And when I got deeper, there's emotion. So what's telling me is that you have a facade on the inside, but on the outside, you could go like that, meaning get very emotional, or feel like, oh, I can't hide anymore. Because what can happen, especially for young girls, is that we're trying to work out of some of our fears, anxieties, wanting things different. And then it's crazy fearful. It's like, oh, and then having emotional situations going on. And so we can teach ourselves to like have that resting face, right? But then feeling like on the edge, that if I stuck my fingernail in you, I could feel like, I could feel it. And then when somebody gets to it, you could break down instantly. And meaning, I say break down, but meaning letting go of the facade. You're not a bad person. It just simply means that you are working through and struggling through. I heard the word struggling, and I feel it in the back, so it's the past. And you're holding your breath on it, because I could hardly just get through that energy. You're like, there's some things you hold your breath over, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
To get through it so that you're not going to, quote unquote, crumble. Here's the thing, sweetheart. You're not crumbling. When we get to that space of feeling that emotion, think about how great it feels on the other side. You're letting it go. It's not tearing you down or weakening you. It actually is you holding on to something you really do need to let go of, and not put a protective barrier over it. Because let me tell you, you let go of that stuff, and even if it comes out, even if it comes out like that, then let it come out like that. Because let me tell you, once you get it all out, you're like, I feel better now. It's all.
It is very true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And you know, and it is about age, you know, wanting to get ahead and then letting go of some stuff in the past and feeling like it's catching up to you, meaning the emotional aspect of it, not the physical or the story. Like you could not even think of the story, and all of a sudden somebody waved their hand, and you're like, whoa, because it reminds you of, it's sort of like that. Because
it does feel like that. It's like right up in my face.
Yes. But, you know, go into, I heard the quiet cocoon. So go into your room or to your car, and then just think of the story that you're like on that edge, right? And then just let loose. Let loose. Like, I don't care what your face looks like and all the makeup all the way down to your chin, just let it go. And then if you feel like, you know, you cried it out, but it's still there, then reach out to your best friend. Reach out to your best friend and say, you know, I just let go of something, but I feel like I need to talk it out, and just listen. I don't need you to fix it. I don't need you to respond, but I'm just going to talk. Because I feel like you have two aspects of you, like the physical letting go, like through the crying or the facial movements, but you hold back and releasing, communicating, getting it out through your throat. Be careful with that, or you're going to cause yourself thyroid issues. So you really do need to get it out. I feel like there's a lot of unspoken words right up here. It is above your thyroid, but if they start layering, what happens is it comes down to your thyroid, and then boo, you have thyroid issues. And throat is all about communication. Get it out. Even if you start saying the cat, hat, black, white, purple, yellow, I don't know, I just got to get these words out. Getting the energy through your throat will keep that energy in your throat healthy. Get it out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. The way you were able to touch on certain things and know, like, I can feel you feeling me and being vulnerable to reciprocate that. And I could go on and on. I really could, because there's so many different aspects of it, but it really kind of all comes down to that. And it's the same thing from when I was a child, not being heard, you know? So lately, instead of over communicating, I kind of have been under communicating, and I'm just going to shut up. I'm just going to keep to myself. And the gym has been one thing that really helps also relieve that. And I notice myself singing a lot again to myself lately.
Perfect.
I just all of a sudden start singing a song that doesn't even exist. And then I listened back to the words I said, and I was like, oh, wow, there was really powerful meaning in that.
That is
So
perfect.
thank you.
Well, see, that also is getting the energy of your throat moving. So you could be humming, making noises like that to get the energy through your throat.
She does that from
Yeah,
time to time.
no, I do. I actually do make like really weird, crazy noises just
Ah,
randomly. It doesn't
yes,
matter if I'm by myself or with somebody else.
yes. That is perfect to keep the energy flowing through your throat so it doesn't back up. And being able, no matter everything is, so repeat after me, all is safe, right, and good.
All is safe, right, and good.
Yes. And that will allow you to speak. And even if you have to put your hand on your heart to be able to speak, going, all is safe, right, and good. I'm going to communicate this out. I'm going to close my eyes as if you can't see me, but I'm just going to communicate and talk it and say it. And I'm just going to say it. And get it out, honey. Get it out.
Yeah. Okay, I will. Sometimes it gets so blocked. I don't know if I'm gonna cry or if I've finished crying and how you mentioned that's still stuck there.
Yeah.
It makes me sick, like actually physically sick. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
going to throw up. My
Yeah.
appetite completely goes away, and then I
Yeah.
find myself, just like I might start doing that because now I think back to it, and that was kind of how I handled things as a kid. Is I would go in my room and I would just talk. Like you would think there's somebody
Mm,
in there with me. And I'm just talking, 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 talking. And now that I've learned also the universe can feel me and reciprocate and hear my words,
yes.
um, I've
Yes.
changed a lot of that. So maybe it's even going back into the past and remembering those things that were self-soothing and thinking of it from a different perspective, I think could be very powerful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're on the right track intuitively, even knowing it. It's giving that
Yeah,
energy.
I do. I'm
Awesome.
very aware.
That's
And
awesome.
by the way, you have said at least 3 or 4 times during the course of this show about manifesting. And you manifested this and you manifested that.
Yes.
Is it possible, and I'd love your insight in this. I think Rochelle manifested me.
Yes, absolutely.
I did.
Absolutely.
I did.
So, oh, and I just felt this sense of ease. So when I took a breath, my shoulders
Hmm.
went down. So, what happens is we start thinking we want, and I'm just going to say something, and that something dot, 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 you filled in your blanks and when you say, I want to manifest what I want something, and it can turn into, and in this case, this situation, you may have wanted more exposure or more help into understanding your superpowers. You could have been saying it. I feel it's a tiny bit there. I could feel that, and that went right to my diaphragm. So, and then in one thought can be like an atomic bomb, depending on how clear your one thought is. So obviously your one thought of saying, I need more clarity on my superpowers. And you shared how your thoughts were and how you were feeling things and how you were feeling me. So you definitely have them. It's understanding when you're feeling them, whose are they? Are they really mine? Because, I don't need to hear you are allowed to step into my energy. That is so crazy because
I'm right there in your energy. Sorry, can't do nothing about it.
but when you're here talking to me, you automatically open this door. When somebody sends me a text, an email, they're reaching out to me, they're connecting to me, they're reading my website. You're opening your energy up to be in that space so that I can connect to it. And I'm not a shock and awe person. I'm not going to go to the grocery store and say, oh, your grandmother wants to talk to you, because what if grandma was not a good person? You don't want to talk to grandma. And so I'm not that person, but I am the person to give you the answers, the clarity, and to shift what you're hanging on to in that subconscious so that you can receive your end result in a very lucrative way.
Because I believe at her tender age, I believe that she has got an amazing amount of potential. But she needs to talk to people like you to realize that potential and
Yes.
to get out of her own way. Am I close?
Oh, you're 100% spot on. So being on this show, being the assistant, being able to hear it, that's why, excuse me, a lot of people like you, Kevin, that are the hosts of the platform and holding it for people like us, you end up turning into an intuitive yourself, just like when we talked about Beyond the Ordinary. he's taken it a next step level. He's really pretty good. And so because you're around hearing us, we may be doing energy statements of clearing things for everybody that's listening. Thank you, Gordy. And being able to understand it and seeing the repetitive patterns helps you turn more into supersizing your own superpowers. And that's why you're here, my darling, is because you have been wanting and wanted, and here you are.
My whole mission in life is to create a large enough platform that when you come on the show and other great people come on the show, that we can have an impact, a positive impact on hundreds or thousands or millions, because that's what our world needs right now.
Yes. If we all see our own internal weaknesses to turn them into strengths, we would have more world peace. And there wouldn't be that back and forth and being the trigger and then the fight, and being able to be open, like both of you, when I was able to tell you what's going on in your subconscious, instead of going, no, or, that's interesting. And, over the years, I've been doing this work for 19 years. I kind of get a little tweaked when someone says woo-woo, because honestly, I work with doctors, I work with nurses, I help change their entire world. And it is an alternative to things that you may not have experienced, or you are and needing something else to catapult you to your next great adventure.
And the great adventure of life is what we're all after.
Yes, I am.
And well, by the way, you're living it, and which is really cool.
Yep.
We're talking with Terrie Christine. We need to take a real quick break. It's only 37 seconds. So just be quiet, everybody, and we'll be right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and Rochelle is here, and Terrie Christine is here. You are a remarkable young lady. I did want to make sure that we talked about the ability for people to manifest what they'd like in life, because you're very good at it, and you manifested a TV show and different things in your life, and we're all interested in, at least most of us, I think, are interested in manifesting good things in our life, but we don't know how.
It's very interesting. Seems to be the topic for the day. I had a 2-hour conversation. I'm getting ready to do an in-studio podcast. And she was trying to corner me, and it's okay. This is not a negative thing. This is a positive. She was trying to corner me into explaining the step-by-step process of manifesting. And I said, hold on. So if you're trying to manifest a house, there's a certain thing and certain limiting beliefs that are in the subconscious that are keeping you from that. If you're trying to manifest a new career, then you have something alternative on this other side, manifesting, believing, trusting, and that's a different way to manifest. And then your limiting beliefs wrapped around that. Same thing with an intimate relationship, money. I mean, there's so many levels and so many parts that it's not just one thing. Everything I do is a lifestyle. And you'll hear me say, I am you and you are me. I do what you do. I'll get triggered and I'm like, I'll get in my head and go, wait a minute, breathe through it. I'll sit up all night one day because I can't get out of my head going, okay, there's no room. You're not paying rent. Get out. So I have to remind myself, also bring myself back on the path and say, okay, Psychic 101, you're going to do this. to remind myself to say, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that this is being presented, that it's right in front of me, and that I can do something differently. I just got a flash. It just something happened. When I get these flashes, Kevin, I think I shared this, that I have to share it. And manifesting. So I've been doing my year-end taxes. I prepare them for my accountant. And I found something on my bank statement. I'm like, what? And it was from the post office, and it was pretty high. And I'm like, this can't be. Wait a minute. How could I have missed? I'm always on top of everything when it comes to my business, because this is a business for me. And so I go to the post office and I'm like, okay, now again, I am you and you are me. I had to ground myself and calm down, get out of my head, because the night before I couldn't sleep because it was pretty high. And I'm like, what? Wait, how could I have missed this? That's a doubt. And I cannot doubt, because that will affect my business, right? I can't. If I were to doubt, I wouldn't have given you the facts of what I was picking up in your subconscious, both of you, right? So I was like, okay, calm down. So I just kind of like sashay into the post office. Okay, here's my little situation. I need help. So she walked away, but it was a big gap. It was like 15 minutes. So then I heard in my head, money order. Money order. Oh, that could be. How could that be? So now I'm just waiting for her to hurry up so I can get out of the post office to get in the car to quiet my mind so I can ask God, please don't make me go to the end to get the answer. Could you have just told me before I went to the post office? so I could have gotten the answer and saved myself a drive. And so that's part of manifesting, meaning trust. Because I was creating this, how could I have? That's a sense of doubt. You cannot doubt that you're going to have what you're wanting to create. Now, some people will want to manifest $1 million in the bank. Yes. Are you saying you're valuing yourself as $1 million? First, people say yes. But then 10 minutes later, they'll say, oh my God, that's so expensive. Well, you're not valuing yourself as $1 million. It's so true. It happens all the time. And so there are so many levels about manifesting, but trusting is number one, even when the clock strikes 12. Remember, I was at the post office, the clock is striking 12, and I'm telling her there's a mistake when I heard money order. And then I get into the car and I put all the pieces of the puzzle. I'm like, oh, how could I have forgotten that? But the circumstances under that were so unusual that I can see myself not remembering exactly that, because it was out of the ordinary. So being able to manifest, trusting, you heard me say gratitude. And I'm not talking about, I'm so grateful for being in this position right now. Yes. But I'm so grateful for these beautiful curtains. I'm so grateful for the color of the walls. I'm so grateful for this jacket that's keeping me warm and these glasses that I can see you with. So when we're being grateful for all of this, then God will say, here you go. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this. Because then it's in the space of, I'm so grateful for all that I have, that I'm just going to pour more into you and give you everything you're saying. Trusting, gratitude, and then meditating, because we get so far into our head that we have goals we're setting, and what are we having for dinner, and what am I going to wear, and who do I need to talk to today, that we're filling our head full of stuff. There's no space to get our answers from all that is, from source, right? So when you're meditating, you're getting away from the chatter to allow guidance to come into you, but you still have a choice to take action on that guidance. Just like when I'm picking up psychic stuff, it's the strongest probability in your energy field. And I say, okay, when it has to do with other people, I say this can change, because they still have a choice to be off of your path. But then when it comes to you, you still have a choice, because if you're living in fear and you don't want to take, and this, I just saw a flash of a client because I told her a year ago the perfect job for her. A year ago, she came to see me a couple of days ago, And I said, I told you a year ago, why didn't you go to this place and apply for this job? Because this job is perfect for you. She says, I'll go today. She walks in and they just filled the position 2 days ago. But it was a year. If she would have gone a year, she wouldn't have. So, but again, you still have choices. I can be the person who can give you everything and more from my mind's eye through God, but you still can say no, or you can still go, I'm still fearful of it, right? And that's going to keep you from creating what you're trying to manifest as your end result.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And by the way, I grew up when I was 7 years old. I grew up and I became a Beatles fan. And I believe that some of the things that they talk about, like I am you and me and we are all together, that came from a song from them, and you just said it.
Yep. See, I am so good. Kevin, that actually happens a lot with me. I'll say stuff that people relate to so much so, either they were thinking or it's part of their lifestyle, or like you said, the Beatles, that I'll say it and they're like, I can't believe you just said that. It happens quite often, actually.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's like one of my sayings that I tell everybody, and I tell Rochelle this all the time. Rochelle, what is it that I say?
First and most important thing Kevin ever taught me was let it be. Let it be. And I do. I catch myself now in conversations with him or with myself and other people, and I say that out loud, and I'm like, oh, girl, you're getting it.
Yes.
Finally getting it.
Yes, I love that.
So I got to tell you, we're running out of time. So I want to make sure we get the information out about you. Go to terriechristine.com. You can talk to her. Is that the best way to contact you?
Yes, it has every offer on my website. I offer a free guided meditation as well, but I work remotely. That's how I started my practice. I work face-to-face. I'm in the Metro DC area in Chevy Chase, Maryland, but I also have I'm working with people in Canada right now. So I have clients all over the world.
That's a cool thing about technology now, is that you don't have to be in the same room. In your case, you don't have to be in the same continent.
Exactly.
Because it's just energy.
Yes, it is just energy. But you can find me on my website. You can find me on Facebook. It's all Terrie Christine. Facebook, Instagram. I actually do readings of celebrities from their pictures, because there are blueprints of your energy in a picture. So Rochelle, if you ever want me to tell you about a guy you're interested in or somebody you want to know about, just give me a picture and I'll tell you all about them.
Okay.
I do it quite often. And so I read the energy of the celebrities, and you guys got to go to TikTok and look at that. It's under Terrie Christine. But I did Cardi B, and I picked up her and her husband, and I said, there's a crack in this relationship. There's something he's doing. 3 months later, they're getting a divorce. And I'm like, what? And I said, here it comes. And I put it right out there. But it literally is within the energy of what I'm seeing. And you can run, but you can't hide.
Well, will you come back, please?
I would love to. I love this. You guys are awesome.
I would love to have you back, because like I said, there's somebody out there going, I could do a whole bunch with them psychic people and stuff. So
Yes.
I just love the work that you do and the energy that you do it with.
Thank you so much.
And you've helped Rochelle today. You helped me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I'm very grateful.
And are you going to manifest another TV show?
Absolutely. Actually, I just hired a PR company. And so I should have gotten an email. I haven't checked yet, but on our second, next week, they'll have a list of where they're going to be campaigning me. So we'll be out there and about on some big platforms. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Well, I got 1.6 million a month, so tell your PR company that.
I actually did already.
You are so kind, and I thank you so much. Rochelle, thank you for being here, and we've run out of time. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at kmmedia.pro.